Hello everyone, my name is Reed and welcome to Storytime. Today we are going to be reading some Choosing Beggars stories, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is a bit of a long story. I have a neighbor named Bob who is the biggest choosing beggar jerk I have ever run into. Bob is a wheeler and dealer, a haggler, a con man, always looking for the best deal. If Bob buys or sells something, he has to feel like he got the upper hand or he won't do the deal. Then, to add insult to injury of the deal you made with him, he runs his mouth about how dumb the other person was and how smart he is. He is my neighbor, and while I don't like Bob, he would totally run into your burning house to save your kids, even if it was only to ask for a settlement afterward for pain and suffering. You can't choose your neighbors. One time, Bob bought 3 lawnmowers at an estate sale for $10 each, then could not get them to run and offered to sell me one for $25. I knew how to fix it, so I bought it, fixed it, then he came back wanting more money since I got it running. When I told him to suck it, he then demanded I help him fix the other 2 for free. It's pathological. He has to come out on top or his bruised ego would be crushed, his penis would cease to get hard, and his wife would leave him, or something like that. So I showed him how to fix them and we turned around and sold them both for $50 each. Then still complained that I owed him $25. That is Bob. He is the kind of guy that when you both agree to a price, if it is too fast, he wants to change it after you agree. So the choosing beggar that pushed me over the top and why he has a restraining order against me is a little longer. I was managing a project where we bought 20 cases, 2,000 lamps, of light bulbs that the owner decided were the wrong color and was good with paying for 20 more cases in the right color. The lamps I bought were 40 watts LED warm dim in standard house E26. Warm dim is a cool feature. The lamp dims from 3000K to 2200K, and the lamp real mimics the old incandescent lamps well. These lights look fantastic in residential homes. They were non-returnable and they were going in the trash, so I took them home with the consent of my boss. The day I roll up with 20 cases of lamps, Bob came over beer in hand to find out what I was up to, and I tell him the whole story. His eyes just glass over and ask if he can have some too. I give him a case and he takes it without even saying thank you or helping me unload my truck into the garage. He is a butt, but I'm used to it, so I just ignore him as he walks off with a case of lamps, probably to go brag someone about how dumb I am for giving it away for free. Sure enough, over the next few days, various neighbors come knocking, wanting their free lamps too, and I pass out a few small boxes of 10 to their disappointment. Then someone on Facebook starts a post for the neighborhood about me passing out free lamps, and before this gets out of hand, I announce they are $1 each. Come and get all you want. Nobody comes. I still have 18 cases and wonder if I can sell them on eBay. Sure enough, there are lamps on eBay and even a case of the exact ones I am wanting to sell. Then I look closer and the box in the picture has a job number writing in Sharpie on the side in my handwriting. It was the case I gave Bob and he was trying to sell it on eBay. So I contacted the seller and asked if he had any more, that the price was fine but I really needed 10 cases. The next day my garage door is open and I am mowing the grass and I look up and Bob is in my garage grabbing cases of lamps. After stopping what I am doing, I ask Bob what he is doing and he just looks up as if it is the most normal thing ever and says he is going to help me out and take a few of these cases off my hands for me. The guy is a scammer, a liar, but dang, that was bold. I keep calm and say that sounds great, but the lamps are $1 each, which is what I put on Facebook. The offer on eBay was $2.50 each, and retail these go for around $3.50 each for some context. Bob is indignant that I would dare to charge him for the lamps. The very guy who would take them for nothing, sell them for a profit, then brag to anyone who would listen about how dumb I was, is mad at me for it? He is ticked and stomps off, calling me a little expletive. This is when I stopped taking any of his behavior for granted. Bob comes back the next day and tries it again, only the price is $1.25 on principle, and I got to watch all the veins in his face pop out and his skin turn red. This goes on for a week as I prod him on eBay for a delivery time. The problem with Bob is he just can't pay the asking price for anything, no matter what, even if it means spoiling the eBay deal. He really would cut his own nose off to spite his own face. We settled for the original $1 lamp and I sold Bob $1,000 worth of lamps. He demanded I deliver the lamps to his garage as part of the deal. No biggie, I was having fun anyway. Then I was watching as he tells the buyer, me, on eBay, he has the lamps, but there is shipping and handling fee and his cost has gone up. I horse traded with him on eBay for days. It was great fun. Then I just walked away. About 3 weeks later, Bob comes back and wants to know if I would take the lamps back. I just smile and say I have plenty of lamps, and he is really agitated. After a couple of weeks, I just can't leave it alone. It was too much fun. So I contact Bob on eBay and tell him a sob story about my project being out of money, ask if he will cover shipping and handling. We go back and forth a few times, then he asks for my address for a shipping quote. So I send him my address. This is when Bob figures out I got him. He is livid, comes to my house yelling and screaming, saying he is going to sue me, and I just smile and tell him to freak off. Bob can't take being bested, so he calls my employer and tells him I am stealing light bulbs. He has pictures and proof and is willing to testify in court, etc., etc., etc. My boss got a great laugh out of it. Then Bob crossed the property line, got in my face, and started screaming with spittle and everything in my own dang driveway. This little expletive sent him home, and now I have a restraining order. Yeah, and I still have 8 cases of lamps I can't seem to get rid of. I would have let him sell all 20 cases for a small cut of the proceeds, but that was not good enough for Bob. It's never about the money with that guy. He has to feel like he screwed you over, or he is not interested. Is it just me, or does anyone else want to hear some more stories about Bob? Keep them coming. I want a $3 beer. No, not that kind of beer. I think this fits in choosing beggar. I work in a restaurant that runs a weekly deal where you get a steak, a side, and a small domestic beer for dirt cheap. The beer alone works out to be $3.25, and it has to be either Coors, Bud, or the company's own Blonde Ale, which we are out of. To give you an idea of this guy, he wasn't present when I first approached the table because he was at the host stand getting a kids menu for his obviously teenage daughter, which he uses to grill me on how much the kid's steak is and if it's the same cut used for the deal because the kid's meal is $1 cheaper. He asks about beers for the deal. I tell him domestics only, Bud or Coors. He says never mind, bring me a root beer. As I leave, I hear wife tell him, "We came all the way here for this deal, now you don't even want it? Stop pouting." Come back after a few minutes and he's pointing at the menu smugly. "I want the deal with the company Blonde because it says right here I can get that." I just sighed and say, "Yes, you could, except that we're out of it." "Oh, really? That's ridiculous. There should be a substitution then." I said, "Yeah, there is. Bud or Coors." He gets ticked, saying these are not good enough substitutions. I excuse myself to fetch the manager, who the guy has a straight-up temper tantrum at. He wants us to give him the local IPA, which is literally twice as expensive for a keg compared to the others. Manager boots the parents out. The cherry on top, teenager had already gone outside to get away from her nutso parents, and a schizophrenic/drunk guy apparently approached her and said something colorful. Beer beggar guy called the restaurant angry the next day, blaming us for allowing that to happen. I feel like all too often managers end up caving and giving in to what the customer wants to keep up a good reputation, but honestly I think it's better in this situation where you don't allow idiots like this and beggars like this into your establishment. So, good job, manager. Relative wanted me to buy him a phone. Only a new iPhone though. Background. My family is originally from Bangladesh, and we still have family there, so my parents and sometimes me and my brother take trips back. My mom has 2 brothers and 4 sisters. In addition, my maternal grandfather had a second marriage, so my mom has 2 half-brothers and 2 half-sisters as well. I have only visited Bangladesh twice, once when I was in 7th grade, and then in 2013. This story is about one of the uncles choosing beggar from my grandfather's second marriage, who I had not spoken to between my 2 trips to Bangladesh. Story. During my trip to Bangladesh in 2013, my parents and I went to visit my mom's family. On our first visit, choosing beggar uncle, my mom's half-sibling, took me aside. At first I thought it was just to chat and catch up privately since we had not spoken since my previous visits years ago. It started off like that at first, and then he brought up how we had given 2 of my uncles, my mother's 2 full siblings, new phones. The phones we got my uncles were less than $150 each, and it was because they did not have smartphones. The choosing beggar uncle already had a smartphone, and we got him gifts that he had asked for, new jacket and cleats for playing cricket. Choosing Beggar Uncle then asked me if I could get him a phone as well once I got back to America since my other uncles got one. I said yes, figuring it wouldn't be too difficult to get him a $100 to $150 phone, and I kind of felt bad since a new phone is kind of cooler than a jacket and cleats. The rest of the trip was fine, and I saw Choosing Beggar Uncle a few more times before I came back home. On the layover back home, I saw that Choosing Beggar Uncle had requested me as a friend on Facebook. It was a bit strange that he had Facebook for a while and did not add me until after my trip. Figured at the time it was because we had not spoken for a long time, so I accepted. Choosing Beggar Uncle immediately starts messaging me about the phone he had asked for. I was still on the way home, and a trip from Bangladesh to where I live basically takes a whole day, so I told him I would look into it after getting some rest. A couple days later, I sent him pictures/links of some phones I found to make sure he likes them before buying. Choosing Beggar Uncle responds saying he wants an iPhone. I told him that they are cool phones, but very expensive. I didn't even have one. If he wanted an iPhone, I could get him an old version. Choosing Beggar Uncle responds saying he wants the newish version, 5C or 5S, because he wants to show off to his friends and brag about how his nephew got him an iPhone. I again respond saying that the new ones are very expensive, think about $650 to $750 at the time, and that my other uncles had gotten phones similar to the ones I sent him pictures of. Choosing Beggar Uncle basically responds that he doesn't want a crappy used phone and will only accept a new iPhone. At this point, I basically told him no, had a couple more messages back and forth, and then I don't think he ever messaged me again. I should have known from the get-go that he would make some outlandish request. During my first trip to Bangladesh, my dad got the Choosing Beggar Uncle a new cricket bat since Choosing Beggar Uncle asked him for one. Within a few hours of my dad getting Choosing Beggar Uncle the bat, my dad saw him smashing the bat against a tree. Why would he do this? The bat was not the specific brand that Choosing Beggar Uncle had requested. Come on, what kind of ungrateful piece of crap is this? The only upside to this is at least your uncle is halfway around the world. I mean, if I had to deal with this kind of person on a regular basis, I would literally freak out every single day. That's all the stories we have for today. If you liked what you heard, subscribe for more content like this daily. In the meantime, I wish you the most amazing day.